Greetings, all! Today, we'll be examining the rare Dark-type Pokemon Zorua, the Tricky Fox Pokemon, or normal Ghost-type in the Hisui region as the Spiteful Fox Pokemon, and its rare evolution Zoroark, the Illusion Fox Pokemon, or Baneful Fox Pokemon in the Hisui region. Tricky to locate and even harder to find outside of an illusion, the members of the Zorua family are unique mammals that can more than play mind games with those that go toe-to-toe with them.
Zorua are quadrupedal foxes with dark purplish-black fur covering their entire body, with darker black fur around their neck, complete with a puffy tail and 4 digiless legs with dark red tips. They have a wisp of purplish-black hair with a red tip on their forehead, red eyelids and face markings, and a pair of bright green eyes. In the case of the Hisuian variant, their bodies instead have bright white fur with slightly brighter fur around their neck, their eyes have turned yellow, the tips of their feet black, and the red markings on their form have a wispier form to them, including a red wisp emanating from the back of their neck. Their evolved form, Zoroark, have a more humanoid frame to them, with purplish-black fur covering their wasp-thin waist, lower legs and arms, 3 red claws on their feet and hands, pointed ears with red interiors, a more pointed snout, and black neck and upper chest fur. They also sport a massive mane of red fur with black spike tips along its top, and a black band with a red tip, the black band split by a green crystalline ring that helps them to focus their illusionary powers. They too have a Hisuian variant of a similar color scheme as Hisuian Zorua, but with no crystalline ring, as well as purplish-black claws and ear interiors, yellow eyes, and visible pinkish-red sores all along their body and as wisps in their massive mane of hair, their fur looking disheveled and splotched with blood. Although Zorua and Zoroark are by no means exceptionally weak, they are relatively shy as well as timid in the case of Zorua, and almost never appear in front of humans in their true natural state, reserving that for those of their own kind and occasionally fellow Pokemon. Both Zorua and the evolved form Zoroark possess exceptionally advanced extrasensory powers that allow them to manipulate light waves. In essence, this grants them the ability to generate illusions, an ability that they often use to disguise themselves when in the midst of others. Their expertise in using this ability is so extreme that they are the only known Pokemon known to possess the appropriately named Illusion ability, which allows them to take the form of a different Pokemon from a trainer's party upon appearing in battle. However, this ability is limited in that Zorua and Zoroark cannot physically alter the world around them or themselves, so even if they do change form, they maintain their type and moves. Furthermore, this ability requires exceptional concentration on their part, as any contact with them while transformed will force them to revert back to their true form, but as a whole, it can still prove to be a useful tool for them to have access to when needed. Aside from this, as far as their overall combat attributes go, in the case of Unova and Zoroark, these beasts are more than a bit frail and do not have a great deal of stamina to work with, plus the physical strength is a bit less than useful, so most of their base stats are below average for a fully evolved Dark-type Pokemon. However, they can at least hit fairly hard with special attacks, and their agility in battle is more than enough to get them around harsh attacks, so the base special attack and speed stats are above average for a fully evolved Pokemon of their type, at least lending them some power of use in battle.
While Zorua on their own don't have a lot going for them that differentiates them from their evolved form, it can at least be said that they share access to a potent move that can more than make them a tricky threat to deal with.
If in a pinch, Zorua and Zoroark can focus their illusionary powers into a concentrated ring of anti-positive energy which, when released, can cause considerable damage to opponents and potentially blind them for a time. This powerful move, known as the Night Daze attack, is shared only with Lunala and is among the more powerful Dark-type attacks available to any Pokemon, and noted for its chance to decrease the target's accuracy. Unfortunately, because they are still young, the powers of Zorua are limited to altering themselves only. Furthermore, they are not too keen at pretending to be humans in order to possibly escape from a predator or otherwise go into urban environments to search for food, even though a popular illusion among the species is the form of a silent child. This can often be an easy way to detect their presence as well, as if a child has suddenly gone silent when they were talkative before, it may be a sure sign they have been replaced with a Zorua in disguise. While they might get every other detail right while disguised as a human, their tails are still exposed and can easily give them away.
It is further noted that Zorua are one of the few species of Pokemon known to have unique variant within the confines of the Hisui region.
In this region, these creatures are normal ghost types, have slightly decreased base HP and attack stats, and slightly increased base special attack and speed stats, and have access to the Shadow Sneak, Snarl, Swift, Bitter Malice, Slash, and Shadow Claw attacks. Unlike their normal variant, Hisui and Zorua are notably different in that they are not technically alive at all anymore, but instead exist as spirits that have returned to the land of the living for the sheer point of spite and malice. These beasts, once exiled to the Hisui region in ancient times, could not survive the harsh environments and wildlife, and all perished here. But now, the malice and bitterness they have towards other life forms has brought them back to life, if only to vent these feelings in the form of illusions and ghostly power, even as their tether to the physical world allows them to retain a normal type assignment, thus granting them an extremely unique type assignment as a whole. The illusions born of these spiteful feelings, born from the spiritual flames that erupt from their head and their ghostly fur, are designed to show how much they hate the world in its entirety, and they often use their power to terrify others by appearing to them as an apparition of their own visage before striking, deriving energy from the fear they garner from others. They, in their evolved form, are known to be able to use this power well in the execution of the signature Bitter Malice attack, and between that and the frigid environments they dwell in, it is no wonder that they are feared by many for the horrible apparitions and power they can display, even if they are still rather frail at a young age. Compared to their pre-evolved form, Zoroark possess exceptionally strong illusionary powers and can alter not only themselves, but also objects surrounding them as a result of the green crystalline ring on their billowing mane, which is believed to be infused with intense amounts of anti-positive energy. As such, Zoroark are able to fool hundreds of life forms simultaneously with little difficulty at all. Zoroark are extremely caring and protective of both their dens and other Zoroark and Zorua, so they will often generate illusionary scenery out of nowhere as a way of protecting the things and creatures they care about. Perhaps as a consequence of their rarity, Zoroark tend to isolate themselves within small communities along with Zorua, living in relative tranquility and peace. It is more proper to refer to them as communities rather than packs, as there appears to be no dominant leader within these groups. It should be further noted that Zoroark are extremely protective of other Zoroark and Zorua, even if they are not related by blood. If even a single member in a community is attacked, the entire population will use their illusionary powers to trick and make life miserable for the attacker. This can more often than not prove to be a serious problem to face in battle of any sort, as these creatures have access to moves like Night Slash, which they learn immediately after evolving, and U-Turn that are more than capable of making them a difficult offensive force to overcome without serious preparation beforehand. With all of this said, if a Zoroark does manage to bond with a human, they will do everything in their power to help ease their trainer's loneliness in rough times, beating back the negative aspects of any solitude they take by willingly creating illusions to help make them feel better.
It is duly noted that Zoroark, much of their pre-evolved form, are one of the few species of Pokemon known to have unique variant within the confines of the Hisui region.
In this region, these creatures are normal ghost types, have slightly decreased base HP and attack stats, and slightly increased base special attack and speed stats, and have access to the Shadow Sneak, Snarl, Swift, Bitter Malice, Slash, Shadow Claw, Shadow Ball, and extrasensory attacks. Like Hisui and Zorua, Hisui and Zoroark are not technically alive, having perished in the harsh conditions of the Hisui region long ago, but have been reborn through sheer malice and spite into a new form that more than illustrates the power that is at their disposal. While Hisui and Zorua are known for just scaring others with illusions in order to garner energy from them, Hisui and Zoroark are incredibly violent beasts, and look so disheveled in their anguish that they were once viewed as the visual embodiment of death by many in the Hisui region. The illusions that issue forth from their withering coat are made of pure spite and can actually cause harm to others, both physically and internally through their spirit, the immense hatred these beasts have for everything spilling out in the worst way possible. This can drive anyone that sees them to the point of insanity from sheer terror, and for those that are not, these beasts will attack them recklessly with nothing but bane in their veins, attacking so viciously that they are known to commonly lacerate their own bodies in the process, their spiritual blood staining their fur to give them an even more horrifying look. Despite this and the Bitter Malice attack they share with their pre-evolved form, these creatures do still have a softer side, as they will protect and treat those they care for with great compassion and love, so those that can manage to bond with them will find them to be nurturing and comforting to have around, making them terrific partners for those that are willing to work with them and give them a chance. As far as their combat attributes go, these beasts share much in common with their Unovan counterpart, but their unique type assignment gives them a bit of an edge, as while they have weaker stamina and physical offenses compared to Unovan Zoroark, they can still hit back hard with both physical and special attacks and move quite fast, so the base attack, special attack, and speed stats are above average for a fully evolved ghost and normal type Pokemon, rendering them a force not to be trifled with if they can't be knocked out quickly. Finally, while Zorua and Zoroark usually try and stay far away from the public eye, the involvement of both species in the Crown City incident 12 years ago is worth mentioning here. According to reports, a businessman by the name of Greetings Kodai abducted a wild Zoroark and its child Zorua, blackmailing the mother Zoroark into attacking Crown City under the guise of the three legendary beasts, Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, that served as the city's guardians. Greetings had apparently obtained the ability to see the future 20 years prior to this event by touching a time ripple portal left behind by a time-traveling Celebi, releasing a reverse temporal energy burst in the process that killed all of the plant life in the city. With his powers beginning to fade, however, Grings had become desperate and sought to restore them by any means necessary. Learning that the same Celebi had appeared again and produced another time ripple, Grings used the captured Zoroark to destroy the city, creating little more than an illusion and, with a legitimate reason to have the city evacuated, was able to finally search for the ripple freely. However, the child Zorua had managed to escape and found himself in the company of several young trainers, and, learning of the poor creature's plight, the trainers decided to help it find its mother and prevent Grings from achieving his goals. It is believed that the young trainers, along with the assistance of Zorua, Zoroark, and the real guardians of Crown City, were able to drive back Grings from a time ripple he had discovered, once again formed by the same Celebi from decades before, and, with the help of the Zoroark's illusionary powers, caused Grings to knock himself out while entranced by an illusion. The Celebi that Grings was pursuing was able to time travel out of the area safely, causing the time ripple to disappear, and in the end, Grings' actions 20 years ago were finally exposed to the public, resulting in his immediate arrest.
These mammals are about as unique as it gets for their powers to create illusions for both their own forms and their surroundings, and you'd be lucky to come across one without some sort of disguise protecting them from sight. At a young age, these creatures are utterly adorable and love to get into mischief for the sake of fun, with little malice intended with their actions. Even so, they can still cause a great deal of trouble for others and prove to be a terror for those that can't see through their illusion. This becomes even more so once they manage to evolve and gain full access to the massive suite of illusionary powers. As Zoroark, these beasts can create all sorts of surprisingly accurate and distracting illusions, and can lock people in a wonderland or nightmare of their choosing, manipulating their target for the sake of either messing with them, or more often than not, protecting Zoroark and their kind from meddling and hunting. As monstrous as the powers can be, though, these beasts have a warm heart to them, and if you can befriend them, they will be there until the very end. However, this is not always the case with their Hisuian variants, and while they seemingly are all but impossible to locate these days, the terrifying forms of powers they could wield in the time of the Hisui region are the stuff of legend with little doubt. While it seems that Zoroark then was still protective and caring of those they felt close to, their bloodied forms and vicious attacks make them the greatest of terrors of the Alabaster Icelands. And while I can't say I would ever wish for the end of an entire species without good cause, even their mere existence is one of spite and pain, so it might be best to just let them rest. As a whole, while these beasts might be rather frail and can't take much of a hit, they can still prove to be a nightmare to face unguarded, and best fought with any creature that's a chance to hopefully see through their illusions, for your sake and that of your Pokémon.
With just the right skills and power needed to potentially make themselves a massive threat to deal with, the members of the Zorua family are devious beasts that can more than make short work of anything that can't see through their disguises. You might have to be very lucky to find one of these creatures depending on where in the world you may be, but it won't take long to really bring out the best in them and show the world just what kind of terrifying illusions they can generate.
Just do yourself a favor and make sure to give them plenty of love in any form they can take. Otherwise, a lack of a strong bond might not help you much if you anger them and they decide to lock you into a prison of their own design that your mind might never be able to escape from on its own.
Thank you for watching this video. It brings me great joy to be able to speak to you all in the world each and every time we meet like this, to explore the many different facets of both the world of Pokemon as we know it, and the world as we live it, through every adventure we have with Pokemon by our side. If you'd like to, please subscribe, ring the bell and all that jazz, to keep yourself updated on content uploads and other materials of the like. You can also follow me on Twitter if you'd like to know right away when something new is uploaded, and my written works, from which most of this is based on, can be found on DeviantArt. Links to both can be found in the description down below. Remember that the world of Pokemon is a place full of wonder and mystery, and you never know what to expect. So, stay vigilant, keep watch, and always be prepared for the unexpected. Until next time, trainers and friends of all sorts, have a wonderful time.